Fantastic. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is August 27th. Time is approximately 8 p.m. I am calling this Board of Adjustment meeting to order. We have two items on the agenda tonight, both under new business. One's a quasi-judicial public hearing for Resolution 2018-29 regarding a petition for Kelly Rice and Sean Vining. Item number 2 is also quasi-judicial hearing Resolution 2018-90 for owners in Newberry Town Center. Name... I'm sorry, I don't see the homeowner's name here on the agenda. Is it Martinez? Gotcha. Okay, never mind. Very good. Do I hear a motion to accept the agenda?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Glanzer. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. I'm going to go ahead and read through the following quasi-judicial meeting procedure. All public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. The giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts only, and closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. The procedure will be the following. Number 1, first hear from the applicant. There is no time limit for the applicant. Number 2, the applicant will be then subject to cross-examination, followed by the staff entering its report into the record and answer any of the questions as well. Fourth will be the applicant have the opportunity to rebut any of the testimony that has been given. Then the floor will be open to public comment, limited to 5 minutes per comment. Members of the public will have an opportunity to question the applicant or staff at that time. The applicant will have an opportunity for closing arguments, and then the public hearing will thus be closed, and the commission will be entering into deliberation at that time. Madam Clerk, would you please administer the oath to anyone who's intending to give testimony here this evening? All those who are going to give testimony or potentially going to give testimony, please raise your right hand and be sworn in.
Brian Thomas. Sean White. William Martinez.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And before we read in the applications, is there anybody on the dais who has had any ex parte communication with any of the parties involved?
No.
Commissioner Glanzer's no. Commissioner Herson?
No.
No. Commissioner Coleman? No as well. Mr. Attorney, do you want to read through?
Yes, Mr. Chair,
Your
I'm happy to do
resolutions.
that. This will be resolution number 2018-29, a resolution of the City Commission serving as the Board of Adjustment of the City of Newberry, Florida, for approval of a variance petition as authorized under sections 3.2.5 and 4.5.7 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, providing for the location of a concrete patio with screened enclosure within the rear yard setback area as provided for within section 4.2.4 on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution 2018-29 by its reading by title only.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Attorney. I appreciate your patience in the kind of tedious nature of running through this procedural stuff as kind of administrative gymnastics. Will the applicant please come forward? We're going to first hear from the applicant, and then they'll be subject to any cross-examination.
Okay.
Mr. Vining?
Yeah,
You have
my
the
name's
floor.
Sean Vining. My wife, Kelly Rice, she's over there, and I are applying, as you said, for a screen-in porch. Right now, in order to make it worth it to do the construction, we would be looking at encroaching on the easement by 5 feet.
Okay.
So right now, we have a 15-foot limit within the next, the property line. So with our current plan and what you see, we would be going to 10 feet. And that's pretty much all I got on that. Covered things fairly extensively before. Probably you have that in front of you. I don't know, really. But if you have any questions, I guess just let me know. That's all I
Okay.
have.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, just give us a quick second here.
Sure.
All right. Anyone wishing to cross-examine the applicant? Okay. Mr. Vining, if you just want to have a seat, then we'll let staff enter into their report to us. This should only take about an hour or so. Go ahead. Mr.
Thank you,
Thomas?
Mr. Chair. He's been through it before, so he knows that's not quite right.
This is the one that was deferred before, wasn't it?
I don't think so, not this
Oh,
one.
okay.
Mr. Chair, as the applicant stated, they're looking for a variance to allow them to build a screen porch into the setback. The RSF2 zoning district does have a rear setback of 15 feet and a side setback of 10 feet. This house is located in the Villas of Countryway subdivision at the end of a cul-de-sac. As you can see on the map there for the locational section, it's in the back of the neighborhood on the southern side of the street. Typically, our variances, you can't have a situation where the condition is of the applicant's own doing or making. In this case, you can kind of see that because of the unusual shape of the lot, most of the lots in the neighborhood have, I believe it's 121 foot depth, which gives them more room to work with on the rear of their property when you place the house on it. Because of the unique configuration of this house, they have an exceptionally long side on one and a short side on the other, and so when you place the house on these cul-de-sac lots, it doesn't give them a lot of room to work with. And so owing to the unique nature of the lot, staff recommends approval of the request for the variance to allow encroachment into this setback for the screened enclosure in this case.
Okay. Mr. Vining, oh, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vining, did you have anything that you wanted to dispute what Mr. Thomas said or anything like that?
No, thank you for doing a better job than I did. Forgot about those little details, but yeah, basically the orientation of the driveway had to be such that you just have that narrow part right in the back.
Okay. And just for the folks at home from the audience, Mr. Vining was just kind of reiterating what was on the diagram and offering his appreciation to staff for their report. Is that all? Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to rebut any of the testimony that was given? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close. You have no further comment at this point, Mr. Vining? Okay. Shaking his head no from the audience. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this point, and the commission can enter into deliberations. Commissioner Coleman, did you have any questions, comment? Mr. Hersom?
No.
Ms. Glanzer?
No.
Okay. And I had no questions either. Motion on the floor is to approve. Let me get back to...
There's no motion yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's good.
Will somebody please offer a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve application V18-04 as it's read.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Coleman, a second from Commissioner Hersom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion offered by Commissioner Coleman, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those, motion passes unanimously. Very good. Congratulations. Go play the lottery. Okay, we'll go on, moving on to 2018 -05. And Attorney Walker, do you mind reading this one into the record?
I'm happy to do that, Mr. Chair. This will be a resolution in the City of Newberry, serving as the Board of Adjustment of the City of Newberry, Florida, for approval of a variance petition as authorized under Section 3.2.5 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations, providing for the location of an aluminum patio roof and existing concrete patio within the minimum rear yard setback area as provided within Section 4.2.4 on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution number 2018-30 as read by title only.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Yes, sir.
At this time, Mr. Martinez, as the applicant, would you like to offer some comments about your application?
No, I think he covered it pretty good for me.
Okay.
I do have pictures
Uh-huh.
that give you a better idea of the location of where the covering is going to be. But I already have an enclosure as a patio, and this is just for shading the back patio, and it won't be closed in. And I'm a corner lot, which originally I was supposed to have 5 feet between my neighbor and I, and it ended up being 10 feet. They had to move me over because I have a double garage.
Okay. Okay, just give us a second here. Okay. Is there anybody wishing to cross-examine the applicant? Is that a question? Go ahead.
Please.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be clear for the public at home that can't see this, you're on the you have stormwater in the back of your property, so you're not
Yes.
backing up to another home where you're not encroaching their,
No,
free
ma'am.
space there. So it's all free and clear behind your property.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, you also, beyond that, back up to the commercial buildings for the town center, is that correct?
The water retention pond divides me from them.
Okay. And this is on the north side of your or
This is on the back side. It would be the west side.
the west side on the, okay, the northwest corner of your house? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the last lot on the street?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, very good. If you want to have anything else to say?
No, that's it.
Okay, if you want to have a seat, we'll listen to staff, let them complain about you. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair must be thinking of other communities he's visited. Mr. Chair, this is also, as we mentioned, a request for a variance that would allow for encroachment into the setback for a aluminum roof, non-enclosed. The lots and the configuration of the lots, as we've seen before in other applications, similar applications in Countryway at Newberry Town Center. This is the cottages section, and so they're very tight. There's not a lot of room to work with. Again, also, too, because of the configuration of the houses, the way they're set on an angle, it tends to put at least one corner of these kinds of roofs or screen enclosures into the setback line, which is it has a rear setback of 10 feet in that cottages area. There's a couple of pictures there to show you the existing uncovered patio. And basically, the request is to be able to put a cover over that patio, take it close to the property line. As you pointed out, or as Mr. Martinez pointed out, the tract right behind him is the stormwater management facility, and behind that, to the west, further to the west, is the backside of the commercial area for Newberry Town Center. And it's a corner lot, and so he actually also, if you look at the configuration of where he's requesting for the cover for the variance, there's also not a neighbor on the north side, which is where the corner is actually going to encroach into the setback line. And so there's nobody on the other side that would be affected because it's the end corner lot as well. And again, as you can see there, the way these homes have to be configured on the lot, it doesn't give them a lot of room to work with, and just about putting any kind of an enclosure or any kind of a patio ends up going into the setback lines.
Okay. I saw the public notices. Did we get anything reported at the office? I saw PNZ passed it 5-0 with what looks like pretty full support.
Mr. Chair, we did not receive any kind of inquiries or complaints or concerns from any of the neighbors.
Okay. Does that conclude your report?
Concludes my report, sir.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, is there anything that he said that you disagree with or want to complain to him about, or complain about him? Okay. Is that your pool? Are you swimming in that pool?
I don't have a pool.
The little kiddie pool there in the
Oh,
picture?
yes. I'm sorry.
Is that yours?
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoy it.
Okay. The floor is open to the public if they wish to make any comment. Not yet.
Mr. Chair, you may want to poll the board members to see if there's any ex parte communications.
Indeed. Commissioner Coleman, do you speak ex parte to any of the parties involved about the application?
None.
Mr. Herberson?
No.
Commissioner Glanzer?
No.
And I did not either. Okay. Where was I? Public comment on the application? Seeing none. Mr. Martinez, is there any kind of closing arguments you feel like you had to reinforce or anything you thought of in the last 30 seconds that you wanted to make sure we heard? Okay. All right, we'll close the public hearing and enter into debate on the dais. Could I please hear a motion to put on the floor to begin with?
I want a motion to approve application V18-5. Oh, wait a minute. Resolution 18-30. Thank you.
Second to 18-30.
18-30. Okay. The motion has been made and seconded by Commissioner Coleman and Commissioner Herson. Anyone on the dais wishing to make any further additional comments or questions? Commissioner Coleman? Mr. Herson?
No.
I do not either. Commissioner Coleman? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the variance approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Never mind. It passes unanimously. Very good. Seeing no further motion or no further business with regards to the Board of Adjustment, I hereby adjourn.
Wait.
I'm not.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
you're not on.
I'm sorry. I don't need to be pointing with the guy.
Yeah, I don't know what's up, man. You weren't on your A game tonight.
Sorry.
Okay, just one.
Sorry.
Okay.
We will give you a second. Can I adjourn the meeting and have him speak, or no? Okay.
Before he comes up to introduce himself, I'm sorry, sir. I had one comment from the PNZ to pass on. The PNZ thinks that both of the items that came before you tonight are excellent examples of issues that can be handled at staff level. And so they would like your support, and this is a unanimous across the board. All 5 members have reiterated this point multiple times, to get staff to look at a way, and I know that sometimes things are more complicated than what we feel like up here, but some way that most of these things could be handled at the staff level, and it would still give the residents a chance to appeal. If staff said no, then they could come before the P&Z and seek for it to be overturned. But having one pole a few inches outside, or 5 feet, something like that, I think that staff could probably reasonably make those decisions and save the residents weeks, sometimes months of time. And sometimes people begin a project and then they find out they had to have a permit, and then everything has to come crashing down, and then they enter into 2, 3, 4 weeks of working through the process. So if this board would add your voice to the PNZ's voice, make it sort of a unanimous endeavor, staff, I'm sure, can come back with some options and some suggestions of how they can facilitate that.
Commissioner Glanzer?
No, thank you. That's great. I would love to see staff doing that, and I trust they have all the best interest of the city at mind. And the only thing that I look at, usually not one of the main things I look at, is does it back up against a neighbor? And if it's permanent, is it in danger of having a future problem down the road if there's any other, things coming in? So I hope they would look at that. I don't know what your parameters are, but those are the things that I, worry about. But other than that, I think it's a great idea.
Okay. I think my comment maybe would center around if there is any slight hint of dispute at the PNZ level, or if it's not unanimous, that may be a factor for us to go ahead and see it moving forward.
Just to clarify, they don't even want it to come to the PNZ. They want it to stay right at staff level for things like this. Now, if there's any dispute among neighbors, if it's, it's a gray area inside the ordinance and they don't know how the PNZ, but, 6 inches outside of the setback, they feel like they could probably tell what the PNZ would vote and what you guys would vote. So that's, I know, but there were multiple times where we've had things that it was just,
Yeah,
so
if we can get a list of criteria, and I think we can wait till Commissioner Farnsworth is here and get his 2 cents worth of it. Either of you gentlemen have any comment?
No, I would agree. I think having served on the PNZ, I think staff is well equipped to be able to make those decisions and feel comfortable when they can make that decision and when they would like to defer it to any of the deliberative boards. While I think it's a great opportunity for citizens to interact with municipal government, eliminating steps in some cases would be well worth their time and ours.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
One more comment too. I mean, I know I've only been here about a year and a half, and I think we've never denied one. But on the other hand, I don't want to see them rubber stamped. I think they do need to be looked at real seriously. We have ordinances and setbacks for a reason, and we don't want to have, a mess at some point. So, just to be clear about that.
Well, something we can do is every once in a while we can get a summary of what was approved by them, and we can kind of offer guidance if we feel like things have gotten a little outside the purview, and just kind of look at it in bulk instead of maybe individually or something like that.
Yeah, but can we go back after the fact?
No, you
And
wouldn't be
so
able to,
that-
but
And Mr. Chair, the one thing I would offer, not to, is a challenge. The challenge for us would be if it's being addressed at the staff level, the opportunity for a public forum to hear and solicit public comment kind of goes away. That's the advantage of, noticing, putting the sign out front, noticing having a public hearing, is the neighbor then knows that this is up, and they may come and object. They may say, we don't want that, whereas if it's just an application to staff, we may miss that opportunity. Again, we do agree with the streamlining, and some of these things seem like slam dunks, but just to offer that will be a challenge as we look for ways to bring this suggestion into reality.
well, we look forward to your input.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I was going to say staff's been kind of talking about this and mulling it out for a while, and we've got some ideas on how we can work that out, maintain some public notice so that we get that input, and still for maybe minor variances falling under certain criteria, address at the staff level. And to the point that we haven't seen any denials, I will say that part of the reason for that is because staff generally dissuades people from going forward if it's going to be one that we should deny. And usually the applicants are happy with it. I mean, happy with it, but they're understanding of that, and so they either make other arrangements or we work with them to figure out another way to move forward with their project.
Okay. All right, well, very good. Last item then before we adjourn, if there's no other public comment, School Board Member Rob Hyatt has made it over here, so we'll gladly give him an opportunity to introduce himself to the community.
Mr. Chair, I just want to apologize. I don't know what happened to your invitation with our last forum, but absolutely you should have been included in that. And so on behalf of the city of Newberry, we certainly apologize for that oversight.
I'm very happy to be here today. So this is a great opportunity. Chair Martin, members of the commission, Mayor Marlowe, citizens, thank you for having me. I'll give the same 2 to 4 minutes, hopefully closer to 2, that I would have given at the forum. But as most of you know, we have an election coming up tomorrow, and I'm running for re-election to Alachua County School Board District 5. I was elected for the first time 4 years ago. Of course, if you believe some things online, I've been on the board for the last 25 years, but actually about 3.5. I'm also saying I'm only running this one last time. If I am elected, you won't see me here as a candidate again, hopefully here for other reasons. But I wanted to give a little bit of background. I've served, I'm finishing up my first term on the school board. I'm a native of Alachua County. I grew up with public schools here. I have 3 degrees from the University of Florida. All those were attained when it was still affordable to go to the University of Florida. I don't know that that's so true anymore. I taught for 38 years. I retired in 2011, and then a little bit after that, I ran for the board. So my things I'd like to continue to work on is I have a deep belief that school should be a joyous experience. It should be fun. It should be challenging. And if it's all about one test, that's a problem. So I want to make sure, and I've fought to make sure that we have music and art and physical education for every elementary school student, and that we have that available regardless of zip code. Sometimes that keeps children interested, and it works out for having a better rounded child. And I know that nobody is more passionate about their public schools than the folks in Newberry, because every event is packed, every concern is made, and I do appreciate that. Secondly, there's a lot of talk about equity, and I'm the only candidate that actually worked in a high needs, high poverty school for 15 years. I worked at Duval Elementary School in 2009. I was the Alachua County Teacher of the Year from that school. So it's about making sure we do the best for all children, and regardless of where they live, we want to make sure that the kids that need that extra help, that we give them the resources and make sure it's successful for everybody. Third, career tech education. This is our best thing that people just don't know about. In year before last, there were over 1,800 industry-level certifications awarded to our students, some in middle school, mostly in high school. Now, if you go over here to Newberry High School, the championship, the state championship law enforcement academy, and where else do you even get that? That's the very definition of a magnet program, and you have, in addition, the culinary arts program. So we want to make sure that not only do we keep children growing toward academic advancement, but equally important that they're able to get their foot in the job market, and they're getting those skills, and we need to expand that and keep going. But I think we're doing a lot more than really we need to do a better job of bragging about that. And the final thing is salaries, not just for teachers, but for all employees. Since I've been on the board, we've been able to go up 7%. And when we look at the competition around, and this is a number that I just saw today, so this isn't my stump speech. In 2012, 2013, we had over 3,000 applicants for teaching positions in Alachua County. In 2017, 2018, we had under 600. So what's happening is we don't have the applicants that we once had. And this is something not unique to Alachua County. It's a teacher shortage And it's not even unique to Florida. It's nationally. So we have to do everything we can to make teaching a competitive salary and a competitive benefits not only for other districts, but also other professions. So, and of course, there's no easy fix for that. If it were easy, would have done it. But what we have to do is when we're budgeting is make sure we keep all employees right in the front when we're figuring that out. So those are my 4 big points. I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes tonight. I thank you for your steadfast support of your schools in Newberry, and I'm sure everybody in this room has already voted or will be voting tomorrow. And if anyone that's listening would like to more information, they can go to reelectrob.com. And I thank all of you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. We appreciate you coming over. Is there any further business from the public? No further business from the dais? We are adjourned.